Hey guys, today I'm going to be working on my 99 F250 7.3, and the project today is we are going to make a new intake. So last year I bought me a new ball bearing turbo for this thing, and I think the intake is, well, it's a little crappy in my opinion. Got some 4-inch pipe here I got from Napa, and as you can see, it's starting to rust, and I figured it'd be a good opportunity to weld some aluminum. I have not done that in a long time, and I've only really done it twice before, so it might look like crap, but no one's gonna know because it's under my hood. So another thing I'm gonna add is on the very back, I don't know if you could see it there, I've got a 3/4 inch hose that comes off the valve cover, and on the stock that hooks to the intake to pull out any crankcase pressure. But right now it's vented to the atmosphere all the way on the back of the truck. And so what I'm going to do on the new intake, since I don't have anything to hook it up to right here, is I'm going to put a nipple on there so I can hook this pipe back up to the intake and help pull out some of that pressure. I kind of mixed opinions in the community about this, whether some people vent into the atmosphere, some people keep it hooked up to the intake. There's quite a bit of smoke coming out of it right now, and I really just want to put it back into the intake so I don't have to worry about seeing that smoke. It gets routed back out through the exhaust and works like it was intended to. So that's the plan today. So let's get started. Here's the new pieces we got that we're going to be working with today. We got a 45, 30, and then a 12-inch straight piece here. This is the aluminum pipe nipple, and then the bung that what we're going to do is on the straight piece, which I think we're only going to need about this much of it. We'll drill in here and recess this enough so that probably about that much, so that way as the air gets sucked across it, it creates a vacuum. And then this is where the crankcase hose will connect to this and hopefully pull some of that crankcase pressure out of there. Whereas right now it's just going to the atmosphere. So anyway, these pieces are nice. Speed by Spectre, and come in these nice little baggies. And I'm already marring them up with my fingers here. But yeah, let's get started. We're going to take this over to the truck and kind of get everything fit up. All right, so what I'm doing now is just kind of mocking this up in the vehicle. I found this to be a lot easier than trying to mock up the old plumbing on the bench itself. So really I've just got this filter sat down as far as I can. It kind of rests down here on the there's a little tab sticking out that it rests on, but this is as low as it went before, and it just kind of hits the hood, the liner right there, just right here on the edge, but that's not a problem. So anyway, I got it all lined up for the most part, and the long pipe here can't really use, so I'm going to go back, test, make sure it's straight with the small mild or aluminized steel, I guess. It's relatively close, but I got plenty of room here for adjustment. And that looks pretty close. That'll certainly fit in there. So my main goal is I'm trying to cut as few angles as possible on here, mainly because my chop saw that can do the miter cuts, the blade on it is completely gone. I was cutting a whole bunch of stainless steel a few weeks back and just ripped the tip or the carbide tips right off of it. The blade just wasn't made for stainless. So anyway, I'm just trying to get these two angles perfect, and it looks like they are. I got them held here by some metal tape, and all that's left to do is to cut this straight section in the length that I need, and I shouldn't have to cut any angles at all. So let's get started. straight piece to 5 3/8 of an inch and just got it temporarily taped up, and it's nice and snug there on both sides of the coupler. And then we've got the filter itself nice and flush right where we need it. So I went ahead and made some marks with a permanent marker here on the side, 2 sides, and then one on the bottom. And my goal there is once I pull this off, I want to make sure that there's enough pipe actually in that coupler there to be able to clamp onto. So I measured that I only needed 5 1/4, but I went ahead and made it 5 3/8 just for a little extra playroom. All right, so pulling this out, I've got probably about a 1/2 inch of clamping space. This was right up against the coupler where that line is, and the clamp itself is about just a little bit smaller than the size of that, so that's plenty of clamp to. I mean, there's no pressure going through this pipe, so you know I don't need a ton of clamping force. That'll be more than enough. Plus, inside that coupler, just right on the end of this, was where I think one of the hoses for intake pressure or something, or I don't know exactly what it was, but basically this bottomed out, so it couldn't even go any further than what it is right now. So that will give me plenty to clamp onto. Now let's go ahead and get it tacked up, and then after we get it tacked up and verify the fitment, then we'll go ahead and find the spot where we want to drill this hole out, and we'll get that tacked in place. All right, so off camera, I had a chance to drill a hole in here for the bung to fit into, and I wanted it pretty flush just because the nipple has a decent sized standoff to it, so I didn't want it to stick out too much. So I've got some more tape holding that in there, and I cut this about in half, so it just has a little bit of stick out to it. So now all I'm gonna do is go ahead and get this tacked in place, and then we'll be ready to start the welding process. Well guys, I'm sorry to say my camera died in the middle of all my welding process, so basically the whole welding thing is just out the door right now. So unfortunate about that, but I did actually get the intake completed, and I went ahead and went over it with rubbing and polishing compound just to get everything back to nice and shiny again. And with the bung welded in there, I started off here, the first place I started welding was on the bung. And you know, like, this is my second attempt ever doing aluminum. So this is my first major weld, and I used 3/32 filler here. And then on the second weld I used 1/16 inch filler, and that turned out a lot better. As I was feeding the rod in here, or feeding the filler in here, I think I just had too much heat going on, and then so it kind of built up the walls here on the inside a little bit, which I'm going to take my die grinder and just kind of smooth that out a little bit. But with the 1/16 inch filler, it's nice. I don't know if you can see in there, it's nice and smooth on the inside, relatively smooth. And so I think I finally got the heat dialed in and the feed rate dialed in, of course, on the last welds. But otherwise, I mean, for less than $100, I think this is going to look really nice. And like I said, it's no showroom weld, but kind of a do-it-yourself person. So it's nice to be able to say, you know, hey, I made this. I didn't spend 300 bucks and buy it. So anyway, I'll go ahead and get this installed and then show you the follow-up, you know, kind of how everything looks. All right, guys, I got the finished product here. Hopefully this light's not too blinding. But here we are. So I've got it all nice and polished up, and that should stay shiny for the first couple days of running the diesel till it gets all black again. But no, it's a great fit. Plenty of room right here. It's not going to move. It's not going to hit these charge pipes or anything. And in the back here, we got the breather hose hooked up, and I think it's ready to go. I think it looks pretty good. So like I said, I mean, this is my second time welding aluminum. You know, I just enjoy this stuff on the side, just kind of my own little hobby. I like making a truck my truck and not sending money out to someone else to weld something up for me, or you know, just buying something made. I mean, I know they got amazing intakes for these trucks online, but you know, you could spend $200, $300, $400, maybe more, I don't know, for something like this. Whereas I could put my name on this, and it might not be the prettiest, but it's going to be just as good as everything else. So anyway, I'm all about the do-it-yourself projects, and I've got a lot more to do on this truck. We've got a whole bunch of body work coming along, and it'll be my first time cutting out cab corners and welding in new ones, so stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more to come.